welcome back to another video. I'm Shah and this is Thoroughly Enjoyed Books. As I told you in my last video, I have just bought a ring light and I am practicing with different parts of my room to see where the best place to film is. Today I've decided to come to my desk. Let me know what you think of this setup. If you like it, I might decorate the walls a little bit more, see what I can do, maybe make it a little bit more bookish. Today I am doing a video that a lot of people have done recently that I've found really enjoyable and I've been really interested in doing myself, and that is reviewing the best books that I have ever read. So these are not the best books in my opinion, but the best books as according to Goodreads. Goodreads has a feature where it takes everybody's ratings and gives an average for that book. You can sort your shelves on Goodreads by that rating, and I thought I would go ahead and do a video where I show you the top 10 books that I've ever read as according to Goodreads. I have imposed a couple of rules on this. I haven't included more than one book in a series, so if for example a Harry Potter book comes up, I will only do the book that is ranked the highest. I will not go through every Harry Potter book that comes up in the list. The other thing is, when I did look at Goodreads, I noticed that the top book I've ever read has a full 5-star rating, and that's because I'm the only person who's ever read it, and it is my friend's poetry collection. So I have scratched that one off the list just because I don't necessarily think that is a fair judgment to make. I then went through the rest of the list and picked out the top 10 books that are on that list, and I'm gonna review them for you. Right at the very top of this list is Old Bear Stories by Jane Hissey. This is a children's story collection about a teddy bear, and this has got a 4.76 rating. I don't know too much about this book to review it, to be quite honest with you. I won it several years ago in a giveaway. I had a signed edition of it and I gave it to my boyfriend at the time to give to his nephew. I read it very quickly with that nephew, and it was just a collection of short stories to me. It's a collection of children's stories. They're very comforting, they're very lovely, but I don't really have too much to say about them other than that, I'm afraid. The book that comes in second place made me howl. I'm not even joking. When I first saw this, when I was compiling this list, I laughed so hard. And that is One Direction, Where We Are, Our Story. This is a book all about One Direction, the boy band. I don't really know again what to say about it. I love One Direction. I was obviously a teenage girl when they came about like 10 years ago. I was 15. I was 100% in that age bracket of people that they were aimed towards, and I was trash for them. I loved them. So obviously when they released a book, I bought the book even though I was 19. I'm not even ashamed to admit that. I adored them. They were great. This has got a 4.60 rating on Goodreads, which is really, really high, but I imagine that's because the only people who are really going to read this book anyway are One Direction fans. The next one is one that appears on pretty much everybody's list, and it is Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince by J.K. Rowling. This has got a 4.57 rating on Goodreads, which is incredible. It is the best rated Harry Potter book. I am not surprised. I have seen a lot of people be surprised by this, but I do think that The Half-Blood Prince is one of the better books out there, and I think the reason it has got such a high rating is because it is the second to last book in the series, so people have already read the first 5 books, they love the series already, so they're going to give it a higher rating. Then the Deathly Hallows drops because it is a last book in a series. It is probably my second or third favourite in the series. I'm not quite sure where I'd place it. My favourite of all time, now this is controversial, is Order of the Phoenix. I love the Half-Blood Prince mystery. I love the fact it gets darker. I love the fact that so much happens in this series that really builds towards the last book, and I wouldn't have been mad if this had been the last book. In number 4, we have Full Metal Alchemist Volume 3. This is by Hiromu Arakawa. This is a manga series. I think I've only read the first 3 volumes, and it's got a 4.56 rating overall. I just think people love manga, and I think this is a really fun manga series, but I read this so long ago, I really can't remember much about it. Sorry, I know that this isn't a very good review. There were then a couple more Harry Potter books, The Prisoner of Azkaban and The Goblet of Fire next, but obviously I've skipped them. Then my number 5 was the Bible, and this was written by Lauren Nicodemus, and this is a collection of essays all about bisexuality. I read this very recently and I absolutely adored it. There are so many different identities in this book that are explored. Bisexuality is explored as a gender concept, as a sexuality concept, concept from various different genders, from non-binary people, from different races. All sorts of different things are combined into this book on bisexuality. It is fantastic, and I highly recommend that everybody who has an interest in gender and sexuality gives this a read. Bisexuality is a sexuality that I think is often erased, and that is covered in this selection of essays. A lot of people don't think it exists. Recently, a lot of people have been trying to say that bisexuality is transphobic. I understand where that comes from, but I think nobody has the right to take away from your identity. It is complex, but bisexuality is a thing. It's real. People can identify it as they want. People don't have to identify as pansexuality. And I think the main difference is bisexuality does have a focus on gender. Gender is important in bisexuality. Not everybody's, but I think in a lot of cases. So that is also explored in this, and it's just fantastic. So this has a 4.55 star rating, and it's just a glorious book. Next we have The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I read this a really long time ago again. This has got a 4.54 rating on Goodreads. This is the first in the Kingkiller Chronicles. I never read the second book in the series, which is The Wise Man's Fear, because the third book has still never materialised, and I don't want to get too invested in the series. But I love this book. I read it a few years ago with my friend Jack. I'll leave a link to his channel down below. He's gone AWOL again. Please come back, Jack. This is about a young boy called Quoth, and it follows his journey as a poor orphan boy until he goes to a magical university and has all sorts of weird and wacky adventures. He's not an overly likeable character. It is very biased because obviously he is telling his own story, but it is a fantastic read. I think it is a must for fantasy fans. I recently found out that one of my friends hated this book, and that if they could have, they would have given it a 0 stars on Goodreads, and I was furious with them. Number 7 is Saga Volume 2. This is by Brian K. Vaughan, and this is the second book in a graphic novel series. I've read the first 3, I believe, in this series, and I don't have particularly strong opinions on them, to be quite honest with you. I think I just get a little bit bored of graphic novels. I am very bad at keeping up with them. They're very expensive to collect. I prefer to get bind-ups if I have to now. Mostly I just leave comic series alone and buy standalone graphic novels. This is about 2 planets, or a planet and its moon, and the people of these planets are at war with one another, and a couple who originate from both planets end up having a baby together. Now, I, again, read this a really long time ago. I recently read the 3rd volume, but I still didn't have any strong opinions on it, so I have just decided to DNF the series. This had a 4.54 rating as well. Number 8 is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. Now, I'm really excited that this is on the list because this is a fantastic book. It's got a 5.51 rating, and it is about a young black girl in America who is pulled over in a car by police, and her best friend who was driving is shot for no apparent reason. He dies, and then it follows the social justice movement to see whether or not the cop gets convicted of killing him. This is a huge issue in America. Police brutality is always in the news. It's always being debated. It's an ongoing issue that just never seems to have any resolution, and it's infuriating, and that is coming from a white woman. I cannot imagine how frustrating it is, how scary it is, how enraging it is to be a black person in these communities where this is a constant reality. And for that reason, I just think this book is so important in so many different ways. It is beautifully written. It is so thought-provoking. It is so evocative of real life situations. It just feels very raw and honest, and I think it really deserves the place on this list as one of the best books that I've ever read by Goodreads. Number 9 is The Help by Catherine Stockett. I loved this book when I read it, and I've since become aware of the issues with it. I do acknowledge those. It was written by a white woman. A lot of the depictions of the black characters are very stereotypical. Some of them are quite offensive, particularly in their speech. I don't want to dwell on that too much because it's not an area that I know too much about. I just want to acknowledge the controversy there. I know more about it now. I did really enjoy the book still. It is still considered to be a modern classic, and it is very highly rated on Goodreads. It has a 4.47 rating, so it is really, really highly regarded. The film probably helped bolster that as well, because when the film came out, obviously a lot of people then read the book. It is quite a long book as well, and even if I ended up not enjoying it, it would still be on this list. And then the last one is Educated by Tara Westover. This has also got a 4.47 rating, and this is a memoir about somebody's life growing up in a really strict Mormon family. It's very interesting, very intriguing. It is written almost as fiction because of how rich the writing is, but it is a non-fiction memoir, and it just follows Tara Westover's experience coming from this strict, poor Mormon family, growing up, going to college off her own back, getting her own education, because she was never registered at birth. She was not a US citizen because she just didn't exist. She wasn't in the system. And that's fascinating to think that there are whole communities of people just aren't registered, that according to governments aren't people. I read this last year. I got it out of the library. Barack Obama really endorsed this novel. So many people have endorsed this novel. It is very fascinating, very cultish, but a fascinating look at religion and society. Those are the 10 best books I have ever read according to Goodreads and my thoughts on them. Let me know in the comments down below if you've read any of these books, and if you have, what did you think of them? Do you think they deserve a place on this top spot? I know some of them can be quite controversial. If you've done this video, please let me know in the comments as well, because I would love to go and check them out, because I think it's just fascinating. I think everyone pretty much has got the Half-Blood Prince on their list from what I've seen so far, which makes perfect sense because a lot of us are readers because of Harry Potter, and I just want to know your opinions on that being the most popular Harry Potter book and the highest rated Harry Potter book. I will be doing a worst books I've ever read list at some point. I just felt like I needed to do some positive videos for a while though. Thank you for watching. As usual, I'll leave all my links in the description box down below. Go and follow me on Twitter and Goodreads and all of that good stuff, and I can't wait to see you in another video very, very soon. Take care. Bye.